Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a little bit of a reading challenge. I don't know why I said a little bit because this is like a lot of it. I can't tell. Sometimes I feel like I read a good amount, like over 200 pages a day, but then other times I'm like, nah, 200 pages is quite a lot, especially if you work full-time like I do. So I guess it really depends on the day, but we're gonna try to do this challenge where I read 200 pages per day for a week. The first book we're gonna pick up is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. This is the second book in the Caraval series. I'm already in the middle of it. I'm on page 324, so I have 120 pages left in this book. We're gonna start off with the challenge, finishing it, and then jumping into another one. I honestly have no expectations on how this is gonna go, but I don't think it's gonna be that bad. Watch it be really bad. This book really gives me trust issues. This is so weird. This feels so out of character. No one never loved her. I loved you. Okay, well, I just finished Legendary by Stephanie Garber, and I did the math before I started recording. So as of right now, I have a total of 120 pages read today. So I need 80 more to reach that 200 goal. But let's talk about this book a little bit. So like I said earlier, this is the second book in the Caraval series, and it doesn't follow the same POV that the first one follows. It just felt a little bit off. It kind of felt like we were reading another book within the same universe instead of them being the same series, if you understand what I mean. Yes, the characters are all relatively the same characters, but because we were following a different POV, it just felt like another new book. And to be honest, I didn't connect with the characters as well as Caraval. I didn't connect that well with Caraval's characters, but I still kind of enjoyed them a little bit more. I wouldn't say I don't like them, I just think it was kind of flat. Things that happen in this book kind of don't correlate or make sense with how the first book played out. Like what you find out in the first book and what you find out in this book, it just doesn't. I'm so confused. I don't know how to describe it without spoiling anything. Overall, I did enjoy the book. It is still very whimsical, very magical. You get to meet a character that everyone loves on Book Talk, so I won't say who it is, but you get to meet this person. I think I'm gonna rate this book a 3.25. Yeah, I mean, it's a whimsical, fun little fantasy world with mystery. We're done with this book, and now that we have 80 pages left to read today, I think I know what book I want to pick up. Flawless by Elsie Silver. The Chestnut Spring series has gone so popular in the last few months, and I've seen so many people rave about this series. Avid romance readers are saying that this is one of their favorite romance series ever, like of all times, and I feel like that means a lot, right? So I wanted to pick it up. This is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series, and it follows Summer and Rhett. Rhett is a professional bull rider, and Summer is the daughter of his agent. So Rhett gets himself into kind of a scandal, and he's trying to redeem himself in the public eye, and Summer's dad, Rhett's agent, ends up making Summer Rhett's babysitter so he can't get into any more trouble. I feel like that's gonna be such a funny concept. I've never read a bull rider romance, cowboy romance, whatever you want to say. The Chestnut Springs series is all cowboy romances. I'm dipping my toe into the kind of country and cowboy-esque romances. What does this say? Blew up in his face, and now he has to clean up his image. Good morning. It is Thursday and the second day for this reading challenge. I ended up reading till page 104 last night and I'm about to jump right back in. I'm kind of really loving this book. It's so fast paced. You jump right into the plot and you meet the characters. They're fun. They're so different yet so similar. Summer's dad, I can't imagine having that type of relationship with my dad. It is just so fun to see. I love that for her. Rhett and Summer are just getting to know each other at this point, and I met the other characters that are gonna be in the other books, and I'm just like, I know what book I want. I know now why Hopeless for Bo and Bailey is the most sought after, because I'm like, oh, going back to Flawless, I like Summer. She's kind of bold and I really like that about her. Like, she's not gonna let people walk all over her, and just because of the situation that they're in, Rhett isn't a huge fan of Summer, and Summer knows this. She's like, I know you hate me, but like, this is my job, and I love that about her. She's not gonna let someone that hates her get in the way of her succeeding in what she needs to do. I love that because as someone with social anxiety and stuff, I feel like I would be so stressed, like, oh, this person hates me and I have to be around them 24/7. You kidding me right now? But Summer's taking it like a champ. Rhett, he's something. He is kind of the misunderstood bad boy. That's the trope that I'm getting from him. But I'm really enjoying it. I flew through the 100 pages that I did read yesterday. So like I said, I'm on page 104. So today I'm gonna try to get to 304. I can feel it. The small town is also super cute. Chestnut Springs.
Out the window, spirit goes up as the rain falls down. I've been sailing on the wrong course.
The equivalent to kicking my feet when it comes to that
few times. Even with that, has it ever felt right? I swear that this has happened every moment.
I see. So we got that trope coming in. You're not slick, Elsie Silver. I know what you're trying to do. The heater's broken in my room.
I just wanna say that, but you'd rather take it all back. Although you
Why is that so cute? That is so cute.
Turn a corner just to get a space, 'cause I wanna believe that. I get lost, you go with your day.
I feel so embarrassed. Oh my god, if I was Summer, I would be crawling under a rock right now because why would they do that to her? I'm so pissed. If you guys want to know and you've read the book before, I'm referring to page 189. Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed.
The white noise. Oh, I still wanted to restart. Give all you're taking my time. It feels like I'm patiently waiting in line. So can we ever have a look?
Good morning. It is day 3 of the challenge and it's Friday. I did end up reading 200 pages yesterday. I'm currently on page 309 and I think I have a little bit over 100 pages in this book left. So I'm going to finish this book today and then we're going to pick up another one. So far, I'm enjoying this book. I lose track of time whenever I'm reading this book. It's fun. It's easy to read. I really like the characters, but I don't like connect with them on a personal level, obviously, because 1, I'm not a bull rider and 2, I'm not a lawyer. So like it's kind of hard to connect with it, but I do really like the fact that they have kind of more depth to them other than their occupations. Okay, there's something about small town romances, and I think it's because it's usually taken place in more of a like southern charm town, and stereotypically southern charm is so lovable. Okay, I've finally finished Flawless by Elsie Silver, and I did the math for it. I read 125 pages today, so I need to read another 75 pages. But before we go into the next book, I want to talk a little bit more about Flawless. Guys, remember my last update and I was like, oh, I'm not connecting with the characters that much, like it's a cute romance story, but that's like about it, you know? Those 125 pages, man, let me tell you, I am fully adoring these characters. I'm still not like connected with them because I don't relate to them like that, but I still love them. I love them more now, honestly. If you hear the rumbling, that's my upstairs neighbor's dogs. They like to run and bark a lot. So you learn so much about these characters. And there was this revelation that you get in the middle of the book that already had my jaw dropping, like, oh my gosh, this person. Towards the end of the book, it involves the same person. I was so in shock because with romance books, I was just expecting the first portion of the book, you know, like just a simple plot of two people meeting and somehow falling in love. Ultimately, towards the end of this book, it becomes deeper and like you kind of see Rhett and Summer overcome their trauma and their insecurities together. They never realized the type of insecurities they had until they told each other. It was nice to see how these grown adults kind of handled their trauma and kind of healed each other. Definitely the rating is going up. I was not prepared for how sentimental and romantic this book was gonna be. Was not prepared. Rhett is the definition of southern charm, southern hospitality. Chivalry is not dead with him. There's just such little things that he did, like open her car door or walking on the side of the road where the cars are. The smallest little acts of not even love. It was just how he was raised, basically. So he did it subconsciously, but just those little acts, it was so good. It was so good. And Summer was such a fun character. Not once did I get annoyed at her. I really like them. I'm really excited to see the other characters' books. I think I'm going to give this book a 4.5. I really enjoyed it. Definitely recommend this book. It was a lot of fun. But the next book we're about to pick up, I need to read 75 pages of at least before I go to bed, is All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the third book in the series, and I'm really excited to jump back into the series because there's just something about her writing. It's so fast-paced, it's so fun to read. I'm never bored, and I just fly through the books without even realizing how many pages I read. If you guys have seen my other videos, you already know what the series is about, but if you're new here, welcome. It's a FBI program where they recruit teenagers and they help the FBI solve cold cases and active cases. It's really interesting to see how the YA universe is solving crimes, like really heinous crimes, honestly, so it's super interesting if you like true crime. I think this book is like not even 400 pages. Yeah, this book is not even 400 pages, so I will be done with this in less than 2 days. Her grandmother is so foul. She says the meanest things, but they're so funny because she's a grandma saying these things.
Under the heat, I'm half awake.
I only read chapter 1, and I'm like,
up on yesterdays. Woke up at noon, I'm in a daze. We'll keep on
book number 3. I put up 2 fingers, but book number 3, and I finally don't hate this one character as much as I used to hate this character. It's nice and refreshing. I'm finally understanding their personality a little more, and just because they're really blunt and say things really rudely doesn't mean that they don't care. It's just not how they were raised, but how they've grown up in their lives. Okay, update on this book real quick. I'm on page 200 and I have another like 100 pages left to read. But dude, this book, this one specifically, it has to do with numbers, and I'm trying so hard to keep up with it, but it gets so confusing because there's just so much to take in with these patterns and sequences. Like I would like to say I wasn't bad at math in school. I enjoyed math more than other subjects. So I'm just suddenly I feel like I'm just so slow. That's my update. I'm enjoying this book, obviously, very much. I think I enjoy Killer Instinct, which is the second one, better so far, but we'll see. I do want to say that the found family is going strong, you guys. Like, you know me, I love a really good found family trope, so I'm loving that so much about this series. There's just something about the group of teenagers that only have each other really and see each other as family. No matter what happens, you can guarantee that they will protect each other. I'm loving that aspect.
I don't know where I'm going. 2 days, one big commotion. I'm being carried
way right now. Bro, what? Oh my god, I have like so many theories in my head right now. No. This is not happening. Absolutely not. This is not happening. Oh my god. I'm smiling, but this is nothing to smile about because this is just how I react when I'm in shock, guys. Bro, how do I not read the next book?
Commotion. I'm being carried by the wake. So hold me like an ocean. I need your soothing motion.
This book is absolutely insane. Bonkers. Insane. Every single time I jump into a book from this series, I think to myself, there's no way it's gonna get any crazier. There's no way I'm gonna be more shocked than I was reading the book before this. And every single time I am wrong. I am utterly in just completely wrong. This book was just insane. It started off a little bit slower than the other books, but it was still moving really quickly. The found family in this book was just unreal. I love them. I love even the one that I used to hate. Like, I love all of them. I'm so attached to these characters now. All of the bad things that has happened to these characters break me and make me so sad. It's so much to take in, but it's so interesting and so fun at the same time. I'm not gonna go too deep into detail on what this book is about because it is the third in the series, but I will say so much information is given to you. And there is an overarching kind of mystery going on within the series. Yes, each book has their own case, but in the entire series, there's this mystery that we're trying to put together. It's so mind-blowing to me how Jennifer Lynn Barnes was capable of putting all of these together, but also making them connect in some way or another. Like, it's just so mind-blowing to me. The last 200 to 150 pages of this book specifically, I was like constantly like, oh my god. The cliffhanger in this book now makes me really want to jump into the next book. Before we talk about what our next read is gonna be, I did read 72 pages for today, so I have another 128 pages to read. I'm gonna give this book a 4.75. The reason why it's not a 5-star is because there were some moments where I was like, okay, this is a lot of information. And Sloan, she is the kind of statistics and number master within the naturals program. She's the one that's really good with numbers. And she was like talking and throwing out information, and I was like, girl, I do not know what you're talking about. Maybe I'm just slow, you know? It was a lot of fun, but then there were moments that I was like, oh god. I'm gonna jump into Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Brabant. This is her kind of like novella short story in the same universe as the Nyaxia series. They don't follow the same people, and I think this is just like a novella kind of situation. I don't know if you're gonna meet these characters in the Nyaxia series. I don't know if they're just like completely random people, but it is in that universe, and I do want to read it in case that they are gonna come up in the series. I feel like the first maybe 4 to 5 days of this challenge was a lot easier than it is right now. I mean, it might also be just because I'm like really tired today. I started Slaying the Vampire Conqueror and I'm on page 133, and I'm enjoying the book, although it is kind of like a little bit slow. It does jump right into the plot of what you get on the back, so that's not slow, but I think kind of the buildup of the relationship and the characters are a little bit slow just because the setting is war, basically. So you have this girl named Selena, and she is a part of this, people call it a cult. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what like our mundane way of saying like a group of people that are worshiping this one goddess. Okay, it might be like a cult. The more I think about it, like, honestly, it feels like a cult. It's super interesting. She is given the mission to kill the Conqueror. His name is Atreus. She doesn't understand why the vampires want human land, so she infiltrates his army, and she's trying to get him to trust her so she can kill him. Honestly, out of all of the female main characters in this world, in this universe that Carissa Brabant has written, I think she is one of the most interesting, just because how she got into this kind of cult situation. I can already tell there's going to be a lot of conflicting feelings internally for her, because some of the things that she has morals about and feelings about, her sisters, her other members, don't really care about. So today I have to hit 333.
My friend nostalgia, I found you when I heard the sweet sound of the ones who I once knew so well.
She got him
In
apologizing.
a voice memo from years ago, we were laughing about some nonsense. Oh, how
Stop.
I
You
miss
need to stop it right now,
innocence.
because you can't be talking like that. You can't be talking like
Circumstances
that.
made it so that I'll never see their faces, except for
Low key, the story may be progressing a little bit slower than the other books, but this enemy still loves us.
friends are growing up, and there's no time for us to pretend.
You little liar. That's not what you said.
'Cause everybody knows it will never be the same. We move
Oh my god, that scared me. Oh my god, that scared me.
and I won't accept.
Impaled? Not
I'll never
impaled.
get to see them, but clearly they don't need to know.
Alright. Good morning. It is day 7 and the final day for this challenge. A part of me feels like it wasn't that bad, but then another part of me was like, okay, it was a little bad. It was a little bad sometimes, but regardless, I'm on page 335 currently in Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, which is chapter 41. I have about 80 to 70 pages left into this book, so I'm going to finish this and then jump into the next one. Obviously, I'm not going to finish that book by the time that this video is going to end, but that's okay. I hope that's okay, guys. But let's talk about this book. I think I like the two main characters in this book and their relationship with one another and their background a lot more than I did with Vale. I think that's his name. For Six Scorched Roses. I think they're really, really close to how I feel about Araya and Rain from the main 2 books in the series. And I think it's because of the tragic background and backstory of these characters. They have a lot in common, yet also obviously they don't have a lot in common because they were raised in really different situations, but they have some of the same trauma, if you guys get what I mean. It's really interesting to see how they kind of connect with each other through that trauma and like understand each other. It's a fun read. I like the plot. I think it's a little bit slow because it's just basically war constantly. It is the whole setting, the whole backdrop is constant war and trying to plan how to overtake cities, conquer, you know, the vampire conqueror. When it does pick up and gets interesting, it is really interesting, and I will say I really like these characters. I'm having a good time reading it. I'm not in love with this story itself to the point that like I'm constantly thinking about it and constantly wanting to read it. There's that. I'm enjoying it but not loving it. Okay, I have finished Slaying the Vampire Conqueror and it was a total of 76 pages. So therefore, I still need to read 124 pages to meet my 200 goal for today. I think I know what book I want to pick up already, but let's talk over this real quick. I think I'm gonna end up giving this book a 4-star. I enjoyed it. I like the plot. I really like the magic system in this. How Selena kind of used their magic given to them from their goddess that they worship. It was really fascinating. I do like the pair here. They have a really complicated background that they kind of share their trauma. So it was fascinating to see how they kind of heal together. Anyways, I have 124 pages left, so I'm gonna show you guys what I want to read next. The next book I want to pick up is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I've heard so many good things about this. This is more of a high fantasy, high risk novel. It's a trilogy, I believe, and it follows follows this girl named Ren. She is an orphan resulted from the Poppy War. She is basically kind of like a servant of a rich family who are criminals, and they want to marry her off so they are able to expand their kind of criminal enterprise, whatever you want to call it. To prevent that marriage, she ends up taking the Keju, which is a nationwide military exam, and she passes the exam, surprising everybody. Ends up going to this military school that kind of trains people to become generals. It sounds really interesting. I've heard that there are trigger warnings for this trilogy. I'm definitely mentally preparing myself for this read, and it is extremely intimidating because look how floppy this book is. I love the floppiness. But looking from this, you guys would not expect this book to be over 500 pages long. Like, are you kidding me? Like, from this? No. I was so shocked because the pages are so thin, and then also the font is so small. So I'm a little bit intimidated, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited to jump into R.F. Kuang's world. This trilogy is so popular. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
In the moonlight, hold hands. If the mood's right, make plans to the sunrise and sleep till noon. I'll take you to the beach, get our toes wet.
What the heck?
Leave after
The
sunset,
first line in
and
this
I would
book
do it
caught me
all
so off
again,
guard.
'cause I don't want my day to end.
This kind of reminds me of when I had to take AP tests, like my AP exams in high school. I mean, it's not to this extreme, obviously, but I don't know why this kind of reminds me of that.
A couple of hours, alright, a couple of days, trying to choose where I wanna take you and rehearsing what I'm gonna say.
Okay, I understand this is how they viewed women in marriage and roles in society back then, and also in Asian culture back then, but this is, it's so hard to read. Like, it's so crazy. Foul. Absolutely disgusting.
Dance in the moonlight, hold hands. If the mood's right, make plans to the sunrise.
Guys, you know what is so silly of me? Does this book have romance? I have no idea if this book has romance in it. Tell me why my head automatically goes to, oh, this must be the main love interest. Am I insane? Like, am I insane? I don't think this book has romance, but automatically I met this character. Obviously, I'm not gonna tell you who, but as soon as they started describing him, like, oh, he's just so powerful and strong. My head just automatically went like, oh, he must be the main love interest, right? Like, am I crazy? Probably a little bit.
Me giving you reasons to find the courage to say what you're wanting to do. I just wanna hear this from you. Can we dance in the moonlight?
Hold hands if the mood's right.
Make plans till the sunrise and sleep till
Alright, I have reached my goal for today. I think I'm gonna head to bed. I'm extremely tired and I've been reading for quite a long time. I'm on page, oh no, I lost my page. I'm on page 159, chapter 8. It's a little bit past what I needed to get to for today, but I was just like flying through this book, guys. Like, I cannot explain to you how the pacing of this book is just so perfect. It's so interesting. Things don't lull out, and there is just like this constant character development, constant world building, and it's so well written. And yes, the font is small. There's so much information packed into these 159 pages that I've read, but it's been so good so far. I'm like loving every minute of it. Ren, I adore Ren. She is like such a strong female character to read about. For her entire life, everything has been against her. She is an orphan due to war. She is put into this family that does not like her, uses her, and then tries to marry her off for power. She has to study her ass off to pass this exam, go to this school, and then everyone just disrespects her because she, one, is a woman, and two, her skin is darker. So a big thing about Asian culture, it's gotten a lot better recently, but a big thing about Asian culture is colorism, and it's so despicable. Families will tell their children that they are uglier because they're darker, and it's so wild. She wasn't trained like all the other students in this military school in combat, or all of these other warlord children have been technically raised upon. She had none of that. So now she's in this school, which also reminds me a lot of Fourth Wing. If you guys have read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, it reminds me a lot like that book, but a lot more fleshed out and a lot more serious. Fourth Wing, if you guys don't know, it's about a dragon riding military school. And the Poppy War gives off a lot of those vibes because you're following the main character as she's trying to navigate through her experience through this military school where all the odds are stacked against her. She is, for the lack of better words, she is the weakest one. She's the weakest link. She wasn't raised for this. And let me tell you, I love Ren for all the reasons why I also love Violet, because they're both so strong. They don't let the fact that they aren't as privileged as the other students get to them. They work really hard. Ren, oh my gosh. When I tell you the story is a lot more serious than Fourth Wing, please do not go into this thinking that it is a Fourth Wing dupe. It is not. It touches on a lot of sensitive topics about women, about war, and about children. It's just so much to take in, and I love Ren because she takes her womanhood in her own hands. She said, I don't want to get married, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna work really hard. I'm gonna do this. There were points in the story that I like, it was jaw-dropping how it all played out. And I just think that Ren is such a strong character because she will do anything that it will take for her to succeed. But also the story is so heavy and tragic. And I know that it's just going to get even heavier, but it's so good. The pacing is so good. There, like I said earlier, there is no lull. There's no lull. It jumps right into the plot. It is so fascinating. I will say it was a little bit difficult to kind of learn the character names because there were so many characters. They just kept coming, new character after new character after new character. I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. It took me until about 100 pages for me to kind of know who was who. In those 100 pages, I was kind of confused a lot. I had to like sit back and think like, who is that again? Why do we not like them? Oh, is this a friend? But after that, it was smooth sailing. Everything's so interesting. And whew, the last chapter, chapter 7, Ren is so badass. Love her. I'm really excited to continue reading this book. I am tired. Just gonna stop here for tonight. I don't know. We got through it though, and I'm really happy that we got through it. I had a lot of fun. I also had not a lot of fun recording this. So I hope you guys enjoy watching me suffer towards the end of this. Thank you guys for watching this video. I will catch you next time. Bye.